Search for answers. A 30-year-old social media influencer was found dead in an abandoned home in Cleveland.
January 18th, 2025. An abandoned house in Cleveland, Ohio. Rotting walls, forgotten furniture, debris scattered across filthy floors, and in the middle of it all, they found her. She was 30 years old, a social media influencer with thousands of followers. She'd been posting selfies, sharing her life, connecting with fans, until she wasn't. Her last post, New Year's Day, her body, discovered 18 days later. The police said overdose. Her mother said murder. And here's what should absolutely terrify you. 4 months later, they still don't know how she died. No suspect, no answers, no justice. Her name was Reyna Dunlap. And if you think this couldn't happen to someone you know, if you think being visible means being safe, you're already making the same deadly mistake her family did. Before we go any further, if you've ever worried about someone who stopped answering their phone, if cases like this make your stomach drop, hit that subscribe button right now. Because the stories I cover, they're the ones the system wants you to forget. The algorithm buries them. The media ignores them. And if you don't subscribe, you might miss the one warning that could save someone you love. Now, let me tell you about the woman behind the screen. Reyna Karen Dunlap wasn't just online. She was online. Social media influencer, content creator, digital personality. Whatever you want to call it, that was her world. Thousands of followers watched her life unfold in real time. The outfits, the travel, the freedom. Her family remembers her as full of life, a free soul, someone who believed in freedom of expression, and you could see it. Every post radiated energy. She wasn't performing for the camera. She was just herself. But here's the thing about living your life online. You think visibility equals safety. You think thousands of eyes watching means someone will notice if something goes wrong. How many people do you follow who travel alone for work? Who post from airports, hotels, random cities? You double tap their photos, watch their stories, assume they're fine. Reyna lived in College Park, Maryland, Prince George's County, home base when she wasn't chasing the next opportunity, the next collaboration, the next post. Her mother, Karen Jones, loved her fiercely. Her sister, Kira, was her ride or die. They were close. They talked. They texted. But Reyna was independent, an adult, a woman building her own life. And here's where the cracks start to show. November 2024. That's the last time her family had regular contact with her. Not because they fought, not because anything was wrong. Just life. Reyna traveled constantly. She didn't always say where she was going, didn't always check in. Her mother would later say something that should haunt every parent watching this. She was often traveling to various places without disclosing her plans. No one was really looking to see that she was missing. Nobody was looking. When does independent become isolated? When does she's fine, she does this all the time, become the reason nobody noticed she was in danger? Here's what investigators believe, though it's never been confirmed. Reyna may have traveled to Cleveland to audition for Baddies Midwest, a reality show. A chance at something bigger. The kind of opportunity that makes you hop on a plane without telling everyone your entire itinerary. Cleveland, Ohio. A city with a dark history when it comes to Black women. A city where bodies have been found before, cases have gone cold before, families have begged for answers before, but Reyna didn't know that. Or maybe she did, and she went anyway. Because when you're chasing your dreams, you don't think about becoming a statistic. January 1st, 2025. New Year's Day, Reyna posted for the last time. No stories, no selfies, no replies. Complete digital silence from a woman whose entire life was online. But where was she during those 18 days? And more importantly, who was she with? Because by the time anyone realized something was wrong, it was already too late. Stay with me. What happens next will make you question everything you think you know about how police handle cases like this. January 18th. East 65th Street and Francis Avenue, the house at the end of the block that nobody goes near. Boarded windows, overgrown yard, the kind of place you walk past quickly. That's where they found her, But what the police told her mother about how she died, that's where this case stops being a tragedy and starts being a cover-up. Welcome to Unseen True Crime Stories, where the darkest secrets and untold cases come to light. Consider subscribing and tapping the notification bell. That way, you won't miss our next true crime story.
How do we even know this her? They said it's her, they identified by her fingerprints, and I was listed as her emergency point of contact through her fingerprints, and that's how they knew who she was. And then I said, well, what about her personal effects? Well, there were no personal effects found.
Reyna's mother and sister say they have now provided Cleveland detectives with tips they have received from the public after they posted on TikTok. They also say there is information on a Snapchat video where Reyna appeared to be beaten, and she said she was drugged.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this is on Zeus Network at all. I'm not saying this is on no baddies either. She is Instagram famous. She was on Lives with Tashiki. She even knew Natalie. She even knew Scarface from Baddies. So you mean to tell me while she's in Cleveland, Ohio, she with some girl that I guess she thought that was her friend that leaves her.
And then I had to call to even get the police report number, to get a name, to get any sort of information, to even get to who the detective was that was assigned to the case.
Her exact cause of death has not been determined.
It's January 2nd is when she went dark on Twitter, and there's really nothing after that, but I know that somebody had to have seen her and noticed her within that 2-week period between that date and when she was found on the 16th.
It's been a nightmare. If you can think of your worst nightmare, this is it times 100.
The house on Francis Avenue. An abandoned building, vacant for years, cluttered with debris, forgotten furniture, the remnants of lives that moved on. No electricity, no running water, no reason for anyone to be there. This wasn't someone's home. This wasn't a place you stumble into by accident. This was where people go to hide things. And there, in that rotting structure, surrounded by evidence of decay, they found Reyna Dunlap's body. The irony is almost unbearable. A social media star, someone whose entire existence was about being seen, found in a place with no digital footprint, no cameras, no witnesses, no trace. The police arrived. They documented the scene. And then, within hours, they told her family something that would ignite a battle still raging today. Karen Jones, Reyna's mother, heard those words, and she rejected them immediately. My daughter didn't do drugs. She did not do drugs. I would stake my life on that. Think about what just happened. Your daughter is found dead in an abandoned building, not her apartment, not a hospital, not anywhere that makes sense. A derelict house in a neighborhood she had no connection to. And within hours, before toxicology, before autopsy results, before any actual evidence, police have already decided what happened. Why does this matter? Because when police pre-classify a death as accidental, it changes everything. The level of investigation drops. The urgency disappears. Resources get allocated elsewhere. And families like Reyna's are left screaming into the void. If this makes you angry, if this feels fundamentally wrong, good. That means you're paying attention. And if you're paying attention, you need to subscribe right now. Because the algorithm buries stories like this unless people like you push back. Every person who scrolls past without subscribing is another reason cases like Reyna's go cold. Don't be that person. Hit the button. Karen Jones didn't accept it. She couldn't. So she did what mothers do when the system fails them. She traveled from Maryland to Cleveland. She printed flyers. She walked the neighborhood where her daughter's body was found. She knocked on doors. She asked questions. She looked people in the eye and said, "Have you seen this woman?" And you know what happened? Witnesses came forward. They'd seen Reyna. She'd been shopping in the area. She appeared healthy, normal, alive. This wasn't a woman spiraling into addiction. This wasn't someone slowly deteriorating. This was someone who was fine. Until suddenly she wasn't. The family did in days what police should have done in hours. They canvassed. They gathered evidence. They built a timeline. Meanwhile, the official investigation stalled. Karen Jones would later describe the pain in words that cut to the bone. Somebody kicked a hole through my soul, and the biggest part of my heart is gone. That's what it sounds like when you lose your child, and the people who are supposed to help you don't. 4 months after Reyna's body was found, The Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner still hasn't released an official cause of death. The investigation status? Cleveland police won't confirm if it's even being treated as suspicious. A woman's body is found in an abandoned building. The circumstances are objectively bizarre. Her family insists she didn't use drugs. Witnesses saw her alive and well days before. And the response is, we don't know. We're working on it. Be patient. But here's what the police aren't telling you. Here's what they don't want you to ask. Reyna wasn't alone in that house. The people who saw her before she died, they're starting to talk. And the pattern her case fits into, the one Cleveland has seen before, the one that keeps repeating, is about to make you realize this was never about one woman. This is about a system that decides who matters.
I said my daughter didn't do drugs. She did not do drugs. I would stake my life on the fact that she did not do drugs.
I think that any of this would have happened if it wasn't for social media. I had enough followers in order to push out Reyna's story.
This is Reyna. If you know anything about her whereabouts in the past month, please contact me.
Specifically, let's talk about how much it costs to get justice in America. After weeks of waiting for answers that never came, Reyna's family did what thousands of families before them have been forced to do. They launched a GoFundMe.goal, $20,000, funeral costs, and a private investigator. Because the public ones, the ones your tax dollars pay for, aren't doing the job. As of 4 months after Reyna's death, that GoFundMe had raised $4,500. Less than a quarter of what they need. In America, justice isn't a right. It's a luxury service. If you can't afford a private investigator, if you can't hire your own forensic expert, if you can't generate enough media attention to pressure police into action, you don't get answers. You get, we're working on it, until people forget your name. When did solving murders become something families have to crowdfund? But here's where it gets even more twisted. Remember how I said Reyna was a social media influencer? That her whole life was online? That platform, the one that showcased her life, is now the only reason anyone's investigating her death. Kira, Reyna's sister, posted on TikTok, desperate, heartbroken, begging for help finding her sister, and people responded. Witnesses came forward online, not to the police, to the family, through comments, through DMs, through platforms the police don't monitor and couldn't control. Kira said something that should terrify every law enforcement agency in America. I don't think any of this would have happened if it wasn't for social media. Think about what that means. People who saw something, who knew something, who could help, they didn't trust the police enough to come forward through official channels. They trusted a grieving family on TikTok more than they trusted the Cleveland Police Department. Look, I get it. Maybe you think subscribing doesn't matter. Maybe you think one click won't change anything for Reyna's family. Fine. Don't subscribe, but do me a favor. Scroll down to the comments right now and tell me why you think Reyna's case isn't worth 30 seconds of your time. Tell me why her story should stay buried. Explain to me why justice should only come to people who...
Like social media, people can kind of like put a shadow or a cover over who they are. So that always like worried me, was that, you know, the people that would write hate comments and stuff like that, you know, the types of people behind those comments can be harmful. And then just like the whole idea of like potentially stalkers, you know, the more of your presence that you have online, the more people will be able to find out about you. So those were two of the main concerns.
I'll wait. Now let me tell you about Cleveland. This city has a documented history, a pattern. Black women disappearing, Black women found dead under suspicious circumstances, Black women whose cases go cold while their families beg for answers. This isn't conspiracy theory. This is statistical reality. There's a term for what happens to victims like Reyna. It's called no human involved, NHI for short. It's what police used to write on reports when the victim was deemed unimportant, expendable, not worth the resources. Officially, that terminology is retired. Unofficially, Black women are murdered at higher rates than any other demographic of women in America. Their cases are solved at lower rates than any other demographic. Their disappearances generate less media coverage. Their families wait longer for answers. Their killers walk free more often. Reyna had thousands of followers. She had visibility. She had a platform, and it didn't save her. She was visible enough to be exploited by an algorithm, visible enough to generate engagement for brands, visible enough to be used, but not visible enough. Not the right kind of visible, to matter when she died. The abandoned house where they found her body? It's a metaphor. Institutional abandonment made physical. Karen Jones and Reyna Dunlap aren't just fighting for Reyna anymore. They're fighting for every black woman whose name you don't know. Every missing person poster that gets ignored. Every family told to be patient while evidence disappears and witnesses forget and killers blend back into society. They want Reyna's story to ignite a broader conversation about the treatment of victims, particularly young black women. Not because they want attention, because they want change. So let me ask you something. If a woman with thousands of followers can vanish for 18 days and nobody notices, if her body can be found in an abandoned house and police can shrug it off as probably drugs, if her family has to beg strangers on the internet for money just to get basic forensic answers, what chance does someone without a platform have? And here's the question that should keep you up tonight. What if the next person who goes missing is someone you know? December 2024, nearly a full year since Reyna last spoke to her family. 4 months since her body was found. Let me tell you what we know. Actually, let me tell you what we don't know, because that list is longer. Cause of death? Undetermined. Toxicology results? Unreleased. Suspects? None identified. Investigation status? Not confirmed as suspicious. Timeline of her last days? Unknown. Who she met in Cleveland? Unknown. Why she was in that specific abandoned house? Unknown. Whether she was alone when she died? Unknown. 4 months. And the answer to every critical question is the same. We don't know. Why Cleveland? Was the Baddies Midwest audition real? Or was that a lure? Who did she meet when she arrived? Where did she stay? Who saw her last? What happened in those 18 days between her final post and the discovery of her body? Why was she in an abandoned house on East 65th and Francis? Why did police immediately suggest overdose before any evidence? Why has toxicology taken 4 months when standard turnaround is 4 to 6 weeks? What aren't they telling the family? And here's the one that cuts deepest. If Reyna were white, if she were from the suburbs, if she fit a different profile, would we still be waiting? You know the answer. If you've made it this far and you still haven't subscribed, I need you to understand something. Reyna's family is fighting for visibility because that's the only weapon they have left against a system designed to forget women like her. Every view is data. Every share is pressure. Every subscriber is proof that people care. If you click away right now without subscribing, you're sending a message to that system. You're saying it's okay to move on. It's okay to let this case go cold. It's okay for the next Reyna to die in silence. Is that really who you want to be? Hit the button. Prove you're not part of the problem. This isn't just about Reyna anymore. This is about missing and murdered black women. MMBW, an epidemic nobody's tracking nationally. An emergency nobody's declaring. Missing white woman syndrome isn't just a phrase. It's a documented disparity in media coverage, police resources, and public attention. When a white woman goes missing, it's breaking news. Amber alerts, press conferences, FBI involvement. When a black woman goes missing, it's Tuesday. Reyna's case demands systemic reform, mandatory forensic timelines so families don't wait months for basic answers. Standardized interjurisdictional protocols for people who cross state lines. Ethical communication standards so police stop throwing out theories before evidence. Resource accountability so we know why some cases get 100 investigators and others get none. Karen Jones said the worst part is just not knowing. The uncertainty, the waiting, the silence from people who are supposed to help. Kira continues posting, continues advocating, continues fighting. They don't want sympathy, they want action. Reyna Dunlap was 30 years old. She was a creator, a dreamer, a daughter, a sister. She had goals. She had plans. She had a future that someone or something stole from her. She deserved better. Her family deserves answers. And every black woman who goes missing after her deserves a system that treats her life like it matters. So here's what happens next. You have 2 choices. Choice 1, you subscribe, you share this video, you comment Reyna's name so the algorithm knows people care. You become part of the pressure that forces change, because I'm going to keep covering these cases whether it's popular or not, whether it's comfortable or not. And maybe, if enough of us refuse to look away, the next Reyna won't have to wait 4 months for basic human dignity. Choice 2, you don't subscribe. You close this video and move on with your life. And the next time you see a missing person poster, the next time someone you know goes silent for too long, the next time a family is begging for help, you'll remember you had a chance to be part of the solution, and you chose not to. I know which person I'd want to be. The question is, do you? And if you're still not subscribing after everything you just heard, if you genuinely think I'm being manipulative, if you think Reyna's story doesn't matter, then prove it. Go to the comments right now and tell me why. Tell me why her case doesn't deserve your attention. Tell me why the system is fine the way it is. Tell me why I'm wrong to be angry about this. I dare you, because here's what I've learned. The people who refuse to engage, they usually know something's broken. They just don't want to admit they're part of it. So, subscribe or explain yourself. Those are your only options now. This is the kind of story Unseen True Crime Stories is dedicated to sharing, not just for entertainment, but for vital, grim lessons. If this story stirred something in you, if it made you think, then you know you need to be here for the next one. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and if you're still scrolling past without joining, I have to ask, what truth are you afraid to face? What essential understanding are you willing to miss out on? Tell us in the comments. We'll be here, continuing to shed light on the shadows, because sometimes understanding the darkness is the only way to find the light. Thank you for watching.